Hi, it's Kate and Emma from Women's Health and Wellbeing Services. We're just getting together today to have a talk about the Elephant in the Room morning that we've got coming up on the 23rd of June at the Don Russell Performing Arts Theatre in Gosnells. So we were just sort of having a bit of a chat about the day, and we thought it was worthwhile jumping on just to talk about how that period of life can feel when you've just had a new baby or you're pregnant. It's a really sort of interesting time, and we wanted to just have a bit of a chat about what the day is about so that it's accessible for everyone. Is that the right way to sort of describe it?
Yeah, I think so. We're calling it the elephant in the room, and we're however many seconds into this video and haven't actually spoken about what it is. So we are running this day to raise awareness around mental health in the perinatal period. And sometimes that can sound really scary. Well, I don't have postnatal depression, or I don't have postnatal anxiety, I don't have postnatal psychosis, so this isn't for me. We just really wanted to take some time to go through some of the frequently asked questions or the myths, and let people know that actually...
Myths is the perfect word I was just thinking of about that time.
Yeah, so this is for everyone. So we are talking about how you can be as mentally healthy as possible in the perinatal period, and that perinatal period being from conception until the youngest child is 4. So it's not just for people who have been diagnosed with, some sort of mental health condition. It is actually for everyone, or it's for people who know someone who is about to have a baby or has recently had a baby, or for people whose their partner may have had a baby and now they're going, oh, what do I do? Is this normal?
Yeah, and I think what you said about up to 4 is really relevant as well. I know in my own case, I kind of thought that meant you've got this tiny little newborn and things aren't feeling great. But I tell you what, if you're in the thick of it and you've got a toddler and a newborn, or just that toddler, and life is completely different as to the life that you knew pre-kids, it's really easy to feel alone. So I think knowing that up to that age of 4, really, that is what the perinatal period covers.
Yeah.
And it's totally normal to feel overwhelmed by those different stages that you go through in early motherhood. So we're going to cover that on the day.
I think you captured something there as well, that you're not alone.
Absolutely not.
I say it quite often that motherhood is probably one of the hardest, scariest jobs. It is the most diverse job, and yet we do it with zero training, zero experience, and it's all on the job training. And
close to zero sleep a lot of the time.
That's exactly it. If you were just winging it, it'd be okay, but you're winging it on no sleep and with a total life transformation, and often while trying to keep that same sense of, well, I could do all of this before I had a baby, so why can't I do it now? Baby just needs to fit in with my lifestyle. And for some people that works
as well. There's the physical changes alone are huge to get your head around. Plus, then keeping yourself mentally okay.
Physical changes, emotional changes, relationship changes, because it's not just you and your partner anymore.
Friendships,
there's somebody else.
You've got that added pressure of, I used to get back to people on time, or I haven't caught up with so and so for so long.
I could just pop in for a coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
And now popping in for a coffee.
Tell you what though, the thought of taking my newborn out or to a friend's house was so overwhelming to me. When I first was pregnant, I thought, this is what we'll do, and we'll catch up.
Baby sleeps, we'll be able to do all these things.
And then there's the reality of, 1, if the baby doesn't sleep, but also 2, if I'm there, how am I going to feel if I'm being judged, if I'm, which way I'm feeding the baby, all of those things that sound like little things, separately, but you put them together, it's so easy to understand why it is as overwhelming.
That's it. I mean, and it is that thing that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. It isn't just the fear of, what happens if my baby cries while I'm out. Is, I'm breastfeeding. Are people going to judge me for breastfeeding in public? Or I'm bottle feeding. Am I going to be judged for not breastfeeding?
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm using disposable nappies. What are people going to think about? People are going to think that I'm gross because I'm using reusable nappies and I use a washcloth, not disposable wipes. And
conversations you never thought you'd have to have.
Conversations you shouldn't have to have.
You do you. Exactly, 100%. But I just look back at that time, and my youngest is 6, so it's not that long ago, but I just go through the internal dialogues that I had, and I just think no wonder I was exhausted from that constant worry of what will they think, or what if the baby doesn't sleep, what if like you were just saying, there's a million different things. So if you are, you know, in that stage of life at the moment and you feel like you're on your own, you're 100% not.
Yeah.
It's a big change and an interesting time.
And the reality is that there is no such thing as a perfect parent. We are all doing the best we possibly can at any one moment, and that's all we can do.
Yeah.
So should we just very quickly touch on what the day is going to cover?
Sure. So the day is going to have a mix of personal shared experiences as well as sort of a professional insight as well. So we are having Margaret, one of our therapists here, go over what the perinatal period looks like in a bit more detail, how that can affect your mental health, and different resources that are around and available as a support during that time. We're also going to have 2 shared stories. So from the perspective of the mum that's gone through the pregnancy, the birth, and then how that looks afterwards, as well as a male partner who's coming to share. His wife had postnatal depression, I believe it was depression, yeah. And so he's coming along to share his perspective on how that looked for him, and you know what it's like supporting a partner through that time, as well as the impact that it had on him, because that's the other thing, you know, this perinatal period does affect a lot of people, whether that's partners, grandparents, whoever's sort of involved in that time of your life. It's a transition for everybody.
And it's interesting because, so in that particular case, the mum was so busy focusing on the child, and so the mum's had some mental health problems as a result of basically a whole host of things that go into the perinatal period, really. So she's focused on the child. There, you know, she then was started to get some help for postnatal depression, and so he put everything of him into supporting his wife, who was now a new mum, and so he actually lost himself. And as a result of that, he ended up really struggling and really suffering, and so he had to sort of juggle how he was able to be supportive for his family and also look after himself, because if we don't look after ourselves, then who's going to look after our family if we're not there to do that? So I think what we wanted to do is to really share that story and that concept that you are not alone. So you are not the first person who's had a baby and thought, well, this isn't what it looked like in the Huggies ad.
No.
So
or that feeling of I was so and so before.
That's it.
And now I'm what feels like overnight almost is I'm not, you know, whether that be in your work or whatever it was, that life that you had before.
Yeah.
It's a very quick change. Even though you kind of technically get that lead up in pregnancy, no.
Well, I think there's so much focus on how you're going to get the child out of you that you sort of forget to think, and my life's going to change as a result of this.
And I think what you're saying, I'm so excited to hear him speak, because I think that's a really amazing perspective to share, in that 100% you're right. You know, if you're putting your energy into supporting someone else, even though that's an amazing thing to do, how then do you support yourself? And what can people around you do to help in that situation?
So we really wanted to, like I said, we really wanted to focus on letting people know that they're not alone. I've said that quite a few times because it's really important. But we also wanted to say, well, look, if you do find yourself in the lead up to having a baby or after having a baby, and you think, you know, well, I used to cry when I watched a Huggies ad because I thought, oh, how beautiful, and now I cry because that is not what my life looks like. You know, if you find yourself in that perinatal period kind of going, oh, this feels a little bit tricky, we wanted to actually have some practical supports and some practical information for, you know, not only for women who are experiencing it, but for the people around them, to be able to say, well, actually, you know, I think often as family or as support people, we kind of like, oh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to upset her, and that's it. And I don't want her to think that she's not doing a good job, because she is,
And there's this also conception of, because parenting is I feel the most personal thing that you can do, you know, and it's being in that headspace of, you know, your mental health suffering after having a child. You're also then torn because you've got this child that you want to protect, and if I put it out there that I'm not feeling great, does that then jeopardize that? And that's 100% what we want to clear up as well, is that there's
I'm just going to put that really bluntly. I think one of the concerns that we have is, if I try and seek support, am I going to lose my children? Department of Family and Children's Services, are they going to come and take my children away because I'm not a fit mother, or I'm not a fit father, or we're not a fit family?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not what this is about. This isn't about judging people's parenting.
No.
This is about actually saying, you know what, when we're struggling, sometimes we don't make good choices.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not an issue, but actually here's a way that we can help
Yeah.
you. And so actually the chances of DCP ever getting involved are really reduced,
Yeah.
because we're supporting people
Yeah.
to make positive changes.
We have no expectations that anyone's life is going to look like the Huggies ad.
Sad.
I love that we're, I know the houses are so clean.
I know.
But we have no expectation that that's what it's going to be. But what we're trying to put out there is it's 100% okay to go, you know what, this is bloody hard and this is not feeling how I thought it was going to feel.
Yeah.
And then our job is to come in and provide you know, the access to all of the services that are there to help you. So part of the day is that you go to conferences or you go to expos or whatnot, but then you can't actually...
You think, oh, that'd be useful.
Yeah.
And then you walk out and think, oh, well, you know.
Yeah, what was their name again? Or you've got no contact information.
I vaguely remember hearing something about,
Yeah,
but I don't know where to go with
a blue
that.
shirt on
Yeah.
or something like that. And that's the other thing, your memory's just disappeared. No one tells you about that, I feel.
Yeah, I do
that
think
baby
that
brain.
part of your memory
I
goes to
still
the
have baby
placenta.
brain. Yeah. But we got in touch with the support services that are around to say, can you come on the day and can you be part of this stall holders event is what we're calling it, and so they will all be there, so you can come listen to the speakers, get that kind of information, and then just in the room next door come and meet directly with the support services that are there. So grab a card, grab a flyer, get someone's
Have a
name,
chat.
And they're just
Find out what's actually out there.
yeah, and
there's
see the
heaps.
people behind the names of the places. Some of them you think, oh, you know, is it going to be really clinical or what? You know, lots of white coats. It's not like that. Everyone's really friendly and chilled out.
Non-judgmental.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing as well. We really want people to not feel judged, but just to know that there are supports out there, and there's lots of people who are here trying to make this transition into this new role as easy as possible, or as functional as possible.
Yeah.
And we're not judgmental. We're not stuffy. We're not. We certainly don't wear. Well, maybe we wear a white coat, but it came from it came from a shop, not from a medical store. So I think that's really kind of what we're about.
Yeah, I know that with my personal experience that once I sort of got confident enough to go and try these places, that's when it really turned for me, and I found myself feeling more engaged, less alone. And we'd joke about how much dry shampoo we had in our hair that day, or like how why do I keep wearing black, because it's constantly got baby spew down it.
Oh, a mottle.
That's it. You just need like baby spew camo or something.
That's exactly it.
And I
There's
remember
a line in that, I think.
I remember just sort of breathing a sigh of relief that I thought, why did I not come along earlier and meet these people, because they're really awesome, they're really chilled out, and they're kind of the experts in their field. They know all of the resources that are around and that are available to help, and it does make a huge difference just getting back out into your community.
And I think that meeting up with people, so just from when I was going to a mum's group when my middle child was a baby, and I remember going and hearing all these mums just going, oh, life's amazing, and they're sleeping through the night, and they're doing that, it's just perfect. And I remember saying to the group, so I'm the only one with devil spawn then? I love him, honest. But just what do you mean? I was like, well, he hasn't slept yet, and this is happening and this is happening, and it's not a bed of roses. And then the mum's going, oh, well, actually this happened last night and this was really tricky.
A shared thing.
Yeah, but it took somebody to have the courage to go, oh yeah, that's not what I'm...
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the facade dropped away and people felt like they could share it, because otherwise I really did feel like I was alone sitting in that room of, oh great, so everyone else is living this amazing Instagram-worthy life, and here I am rocking in a corner, literally sat rocking in a corner. Yeah. And so I was trying to make my child stop screaming.
and I had, my first child was quite a good sleeper, and I was,
same.
I thought that
I was
me.
a great mum.
I read a book and I knew everything, and he slept because I had taught him to.
Yeah.
Then my second child came along, and she slept through the night, which was about 5.5.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the book, it wasn't me, it was just...
It's definitely honestly, I think the first ones they do lull you into a false sense of security sometimes.
And so just even stuff like that, if you're feeling alone and you've got, your second or third child and you just think, what? I'm supposed to know what I'm doing and this child is not doing what I want it to do.
Exactly.
Getting around a group of people that just go, oh yeah, same. Really...
That's it.
That
It is
in
really good
itself
to kind of
makes
go.
a difference.
Yeah, my first slept through the night when she was 6 weeks old. My second, I think he was about 4.5. So.
And just the we could go on and on and on about that for days.
But you're not alone,
100%.
and that sleep deprivation and the putting your keys in the fridge and your phone in the in with the groceries and that kind of stuff, or as I was pushing a pram and then realised that I'd got my top on inside out and just in the middle of a street just whipped it off and turned it round, and a roofer very nearly fell off the roof.
Because you just, you do, and like things that you would never have done prior.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, whatever.
I was so tired.
Yeah.
I just didn't even realise.
Yeah. Or the rocking the trolley. I still rock the trolley.
I still do that.
Even if anyway.
Yeah. Particularly if I can hear another child.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Or just swaying.
Yeah. So I guess that's sort of what we wanted to just let you guys know, that if you are free and come along on that day, you're kind of guaranteed a room full of people that aren't there to judge and aren't there because
you might find your people.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference, doesn't it? When you can just find one person that just goes, oh yeah, same, I hear you.
If you're looking for something dry and stuffy and really clinical, it's probably not the right place for you. We do try and we're not very good at dry and clinical. We do make fun of ourselves really as often as we possibly can. So we're just people who want to be there to try and offer support. One last thing I'm just going to jump in is that often parents who are in the perinatal period, they might feel a little bit uncomfortable or awkward about the idea of coming to something like this. So if you know somebody who is in the perinatal period, it could be really great for you to just go, hey, have you heard about this? Yeah. Because when we see something for ourselves, we're like, oh, and just keep scrolling. But if somebody else suggests it to us, then we pay more attention. Yeah. So we really do think that this is going to be really useful for anybody who's in that perinatal period, or if you've got some sort of interest in the perinatal period, or if you've got a family member or a friend.
I was going to say, if you're a sister or a brother or whatever, and even if it doesn't necessarily apply to you, if you have someone in that stage of their life, sometimes just reaching out and going, hey, do you want me to come along with you? Yeah. I can vouch for having, like having someone to, guide you into going and checking it out can really give you that boost of confidence that you need.
And I think as well that if it is your your sister or your brother or whatever, then it can be useful for you, where our intention is to try and give hints and tips for how you can offer support, or how you can what signs to look out for and those kinds of things. Yep. So it's not just for people who have been diagnosed as having postnatal depression or antenatal depression or those kinds of things. It is for people in the perinatal period and their circles.
Yeah, exactly. Their support crews.
That's it. Takes a village. We just got to work out how to get that village happening again.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, and if you are sitting there, because I remember this feeling, and I'm fortunate enough to have family close by, and I remember feeling like, where's this village that everybody talks about? And so that is something that we're really trying
different continent.
to that's something we're trying to build and
normalise.
Yeah, normalise. So come along and realise how many people are around in the community, and you might find your village that you've been looking for.
So say, come along and become part of our village.
Yeah, we're crazy, but
we are, but in the best possible way. All the best people are.
That's it. We go off on tangents, but it's fun. You'll be fine.
I call it the Billy Connolly School of Storytelling. I get to the point eventually. I promise. Sometimes I forget where I was going, but
So I guess if you've hung around to this part of the video, thanks. And is that kind of covering everything off?
I think so. So it's Wednesday the 23rd of June. Yep. At the Don Russell Performing Arts Centre, and there will be a link in the comments down here or in the description thing with where you can go for more information and to get tickets. Tickets are like $5.
Oh yeah, we didn't even say that. $5.
Yeah, so it's not expensive, and if purchasing a ticket is a barrier to being able to attend, then get in touch. We do have a couple of tickets that are available, that are still available, that we're able to waive the fee for. So I hope to see you there.
Cool. Thanks, guys.